Evening. So we're going to discuss here, the name of the shir was to work or not to work. That is the Shaila.
That is a Shaila.
Oh, that is a Shaila. Correct. Thank you. Right. And so the idea behind the question is on chamoed, should a person go to work or not? But it runs much deeper than that, and really what I'd like to come out of this is more than the do's or don'ts, is what is chamoed? What is really a yontif, an entire yontif? And I think one of the main mistakes is, I think a lot of people are almost completely unaware that there are halachas. A lot of people, I think, are under the impression that there's 2 days of yontif, not a free-for-all, and then 2 days of yontif. And as we're going to see, that's not really the case at all. And what I'm going to say now, as far as halachas go, I mean, this is going to be an overview, because there's a lot of different issues in the halachas of chamoed, and we're not going to be able to look at them deeply. So what I'd like to come out of this is that people get a main idea of what chamoed is, and then what some of the main halachas are, so that you know whether that you're bumping up against something or not, and maybe that you have a Shaila that you have to go to a rough to or not. So a lot of people don't learn these halachas a lot, and they're actually very, very important. The Gemara in Makos famously says that anybody who is mavaza the moed, who treats the moed with in a lax way, it's as if that they've worshipped a Avodah Zarah. And Rashi says there that this refers to chamoed. So we see here, chamoed is a pretty serious thing. It says, so what is chamoed? Let's go to what is it? What do the words mean? What is it? So chamoed literally means, chol means that which is profane, not holy. And then moed means, well, we'll just say now, of the holiday, of that which is holy. So it's like the lesser holy of that which is holy. Chamoed. The word moed also means a meeting. Right? When Moshe Rabbeinu met with Hashem, it was in the Ohel Moed. And so the whole yontif is an opportunity to have some time, some special time, so to speak, with Hashem. It's called, it says it's Elaborei Hashem Mikrei Kodesh. The whole yontif is Mikrei Kodesh, and seemingly Mikrei Kodesh, this idea of a holy meeting, also applies to Chol HaMoed. The Rambam says in Hilchos Yontif that Chol HaMoed Afal Pi Shelo Namar Bo Shabbason, it doesn't call it Shabbason, Hoil V'Nikre Mikrei Kodesh, since it's called Mikrei Kodesh, Harehu Zman Chagiga B'Mikdash, it was a time in the Beis HaMikdash you would bring your carbon chagiga, and you would have a special party all week long. Asar b'siyas malacha kadesh lo yah kashar yamei achol. It's asar to do any kind of malacha on it, in order that it shouldn't be just like a regular weekday. She'ein behen kedusha klal. It doesn't have kedusha to it all. I think it seems, according to this Rambam, that the Rambam is saying that doing malacha, I think, on Chol HaMoed is d'Rabbanan. Although that's a big machlokus. There's a big machlokus whether or not it's actually d'oraisa or not, or d'Rabbanan. But it's a special time to devote ourselves to learning. See, really, what the Rambam is saying there is that the prohibition of malacha on Chol HaMoed is in order that we should be free to spend the moed properly, and we should be learning Torah, especially on the Inyanei Achag, right? That's what we should spend our week doing. We should be going over the halachas. It's a time of simcha and of kavod and oneg. The mitzvahs of simcha, of having joy. Really, people should eat meat and drink wine on Chol HaMoed. It's preferable to have sudos on Chol HaMoed. A person should dress nicely and do enjoyable things, and there should be candy and toys for the children. It should be a special time, and that's the entire week. So, so we're going to go now through just an overview of some of the isurim, some of the things that are either us or mutter to do on chol hamoed. So so all of the malachas that are usher to do on the yontif itself are usher to do on chol hamoed, without exception. They're all usher. And so you need some kind of heter, something which permits doing it in order to be able to do it on chol hamoed. So there are 5 main categories of things that are permissible to do on chol hamoed, and they have different pieces to them, as we'll see. So the first thing is what's called sarchei moed. You're allowed to do something which is for the need of the moed. And when I say need, it means something that you'd like to do because of the moed, right? So if you want to go on a car trip on the moed, so it's mutter to do it. That's considered sarchei moed. There's a lot more to discuss about that. We'll discuss a little more. There's really a lot more to discuss. There's a lot of different cases and things that could be clarified there. Another example is ochel nefesh, right? Things that are necessary for food preparation, and we're even more lenient with that. Food preparation is considered, a major necessity, and so there's, as we'll see, most things you can do in order to prepare food. There's sarchei rabim, things that I don't think this would apply that often to us, but there are times when things that were necessary to do for the community would be mutter do and chol hamoed. One of the reasons they permitted that was because chol hamoed was a time that people could get together and work on these things. Another category is davar ave. This is a very big one, a very important one. You're allowed to do something on chol hamoed even if it's not for the moed, if it's in order to prevent a loss.
In order to what?
Prevent a loss.
And the job?
Well, we'll discuss that in a minute. We'll discuss more of that when we get there. And the last category is a laborer or a poor person who lacks food to eat, etc. So such a person who lacks the basic necessities is allowed to work on chol hamoed, and you're allowed to hire them on chol hamoed. So those are the main 5 categories of things which are permissible. Yeah?
You have to say something special prior to the beginning, so which would allow you to do these 5 things?
That's a good question. You don't. You don't have to. You're allowed to just do it if it's mutter to do it. So some of the other issues that are going to come up within these things are the degree of skill. In other words, we're going to discuss something called a maisa uman. So a maisa uman is something which it takes a craftsman to be able to do. And then there's a maisa hedget, which is something that even I can do. And so, it's a good way, if when you come up against this, if it's yontif and you want to ascertain that it's certainly a maisa hedget, you can give me a call. If I can do it, it is. If I can't do it, it still could be. You have to. I can't do every maisa hedget, but at least you'll know if I can do it that it's mutter. So there's maisa hedget, and then there's exertion, right? Tircha. There are certain things, even though that they technically could be permissible, but certain things that were too much exertion, the chacham and aser, because they didn't think that that's the way a person should spend chol hamoed.
So you wouldn't get together and play baseball?
Oh no, baseball, let's not get into the pictures of it. That'd be fine to play baseball. We'll discuss. Yeah, people, that's an enjoyable thing. It's just, the example would be, let's say, like painting your house. Let's say even you wanted to do it to make your house nice for the moed. But that's probably something that, like, you shouldn't do it. Like, if you want to do that, you have to do it beforehand.
Gardening.
Gardening is another good example. Like that's not a, to vacuum the carpet.
Well, those are mamash malacha. You're saying something that's not a malacha, that like
that could be, but also
like
malachas.
Schlepping your furniture around.
That could be, but even malachas that would be mutter normally.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, you're giving examples of things that are usher.
Right, I'm
That they're
saying,
malacha, but then,
yeah, but no, what I'm saying is, like, painting shouldn't really be any different than vacuuming.
right, but those are both malacha.
Right, but
I'm saying
vacuuming is
doing
mutter.
moed.
Vacuuming
Sorry.
is, you're doing both of them, tzarech moed.
Ah, that's what you're saying.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I let my house look nice for Yontif, like the walls got kind of dirty over the, over the storm. They were throwing around all the makos and, they got stuff sucked into the walls. Yeah, there's all sorts of, and so gooey balls stuck all over the place. And so I'd like to paint it now to make it look nice. You shouldn't do that. That's like too much of a tircha, even though that it's really, in principle, not different than, let's say, vacuuming. Right? But you're allowed to vacuum.
Right.
So,
Well, what about the gardening thing? Like, if it's like non-exertional, like just playing with some small.
Well, how would
And
gardening ever be with tzarech yontif? Well, it's tzarech moed.
only if you want to make that your house look nice for the, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never want to garden, so. But,
Can you water your plants?
Can you what?
Water your plants.
Well,
I don't remember.
that could be a
that
could be a davar other.
What I was going to say is for sure if the plants would die or something if you didn't, but it could be that if they're not going to die, I'd have to double check that. But I seem to remember you shouldn't if you don't need to. There's no need to do
Just
it.
do it before.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's the last one. Also, that's one of them's also deliberately scheduled. In other words, a person should not push off things until the moed and then do them. If it's something that could have been done beforehand, and you just said, "I'm going to push this off until chamoed," so that then you can't do it. Another issue would be certain things should really be done privately. And if there's certain things that would be mutter to do, but that's not clear why you're doing it. So these are some of the issues that come up. So we're just going to go through now a few of these categories, and we're just going to take a look at a little bit of it. But really, that's what you need to really know is what I just said there. The festival needs, right? The tzarech moed and ochel nefesh, the food preparation, community needs, avoidance of the loss. We'll talk about that's an important one. What I'm saying is, if you understand these principles, so then you might understand whether you have a question or not, right? And then you'll know to ask a question. So, but the main thing is to try. I think the main thing here is don't get involved in these things so that you free yourself up for what chol hamoed is really about, which is being with your family, learning Torah. A lot of people work all the time, and they don't have much of an opportunity. This frees you up to put a few hours a day when you normally wouldn't be able to attend shiurim, etc. So festival needs tzarech moed. So you're allowed to do just about anything. We'll see there's a few exceptions. But most things you can do for tzarech moed as long as it's unskilled labor. And so driving a car, that kind of thing. I'll tell you what's interesting is should you practice driving lessons on the moed? So there's a good side to say that you shouldn't do that because it's not really tzarech moed. You don't need to drive on the moed to practice driving.
It could be fun for somebody.
So in such a case, I mean, if that's like the equivalent of a tiyul, But I'm saying is the driving should be tzarech moed. It shouldn't be that it's for some other reason. You're going on a trip somewhere, something like that. So it's got to be something which is unskilled. If it's what's called a maisa umen, a skilled labor, so then you're not allowed to do that on chol hamoed or have anyone else do it.
An example.
Like what happens if your air conditioning breaks down?
Okay,
Can you
so
have a skilled labor come and fix
you
it?
have a Shaila with it. You have to ask. With heat, you can if it's cold, because there's a special hitarium by cold, because it's dangerous. By that's a good question that you would have to ask in such a situation. That might be a problem.
But not if the AC goes.
Yeah, but let's say if your oven breaks or something like that, there'd be more reason there, because that's ochel nefesh. So there you probably could get your oven fixed. Your air conditioner, you might have to borrow one, or something like that. You have to
That
ask.
needs to be more work.
What's that?
That'd be more work.
The work doesn't work that way exactly.
Oh.
I mean, it's like everything. It's not a matter of they didn't make it just where it's exertion only. You know, it's like the Halachas of Shabbos. But so, let's say sewing. Okay, let's say I tore my hem. So I'm allowed to sew up my hem. Why can I sew my hem? Because I just told you before, if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? It's a ma'aseh hedya. You're not allowed to have a seamstress, even for free, sew up your clothing, because they do an expert job.
But you can ask your wife to do it.
As long as she is just a regular sewer. She's not like a seamstress. Yes. Let's say like a chair leg breaks and you need the chair. So I could fix the chair, right? But if the person does like a carpenter's job, like they're have an expertise, so you're not allowed to do that. If you can do that, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to fix it in a way that takes expertise. Let's say like somebody else's, let's say a friend gets a flat tire. So you're allowed to fix the flat tire for him, but you're not allowed to take any pay for it. You can't get money on chamoed for doing work. Like if you sew something for somebody else also, you can't take money from it. But any other festival need, any kind of malacha that you want to do that's just for the need of the festival, which would include vacuuming, sweeping, all these kinds of things that make the house nicer, right? Like
laundry.
We'll get to laundry soon. That's a special thing. We'll talk about that.
Oh,
Yeah, the old laundry. Right.
So you can change a tire, but you can't fix a chair. I mean,
Because fixing a tire is considered to be, anyone can fix a tire. Anybody can change a tire. That's a ma'aseh hedya. Changing a battery, changing a tire is not, it doesn't take any expertise whatsoever. It doesn't. It's you know, again, it's call me. I can change a tire. So it's mutter. Now, car repairs otherwise would be prohibited. Having your car repaired by a...
But fixing a chair, I could glue on a leg to a chair if I can.
So if that's all it takes, it's okay. Anyone can glue something. But if it means fixing it, you know, like you'd have Brian, you know, cut some new wood and do it correctly. Would you mind getting me the water? So that would be a problem. Purchasing things is, thank you. So purchasing things on chamoed is permissible if it's for the moed. Right? You shouldn't buy things that are not for chamoed.
Unless it's an incredible sale.
Well, we'll get to that. Yeah, we can't turn out a really good sale. But so that's considered kind of like a davar ave. We'll see, like a loss.
Okay.
But generally, we shouldn't be involved in purchasing things or purchasing things in large amounts that would be unnecessary for the moed. We should only be purchasing things that we need for the moed. Let's talk about haircuts and laundry. Okay, so really, haircuts and laundry should be a need of the moed. Right? You want to look nice. You want to have nice, clean clothes. So why did they make a special iser of laundry and taking a haircut? Because the Chachamim didn't want us coming into Yantiv looking like a manuvel, looking like a slob, you know, unkempt. And so because of that, they said that you can't do it on Yantif because they knew that if they allowed people to do it on Yantif, they'd be lax with it. You know, they'd say, oh, well, I couldn't do it in time, and so they'd go through Yantif not looking very kempt, and then during chamoed take a haircut or wash their clothes. And so they made a special iser that you're not allowed to wash your clothes and take your haircut or a shave on chamoed. You know, I don't know. Like, to me, it's always something strange, like, because you end up looking gruff if it's a person who generally shaves. So I think I think that people generally had like a beard, and so it didn't make a difference. As long as you trimmed it before chamoed, it didn't make a difference, right? You know, but the halacha is the halacha, so I'm not allowed to take a haircut or a shave. Of course, there are rare exceptions. Like, let's say a person was in halacha, if they were an avel and didn't have time, or they got released from jail or something like that, they were being held captive or something and didn't have time. But in any regular case, a person's not allowed to take a haircut or shave. It goes the same thing with laundry. You're not allowed to launder clothes on chamoed. A person should try to have enough clothing before chamoed that they wouldn't need it in the first place. If possible, they should purchase enough beforehand that they won't have a problem with it. If that a person finds themselves needing clothing on chamoed, you're allowed to buy clothing on chamoed for the mowing.
Rather than launder, you
Yeah,
should
that's
buy.
correct.
Are you saying rather than wash it?
Yep. Go and buy some more. So,
That sounds like a real expensive option.
I guess the best thing to do is to just try to have enough going in. Say, I mean, if a person has an issue, a financial issue with that, that's when you should ask a rough. If a person has some kind of financial issue with that. Kids' clothing. So when a person has children that they regularly make their clothes dirty, so it's very, very difficult to have enough clothing. So they permitted washing children's clothing. Once you're putting clothes in the machine, fill it up as long as that's going to be used. It's likely to be used. You're doing it for the mowing. Okay, don't put a bunch in so you'll have clean clothes after the mowing, but you can wash clothes for the mowing. If a person gets a spot on their clothing,
Excuse me, I'm not sure I heard that correctly. If you're washing say you have little children, if you're washing their clothes and you're washing anyway, you can throw your clothes?
no.
That's not what you said.
No, I'm saying do a lot of their clothes.
Their clothes,
Mhm.
children's. Okay.
Throw a bunch in there, and then as long as what you're doing is you plan on using, if something happened, you didn't need it in the end, it's not a problem. But as long as you're washing it for the purpose of, you don't have to like force the child to wear the clothing. You know, I washed this, you're going to wear it.
So if I act like a child, she can wash my clothes?
Todd, then it would be permissible all the time in that case. So,
What do you mean if?
or the if in there. So nails. If you the Chazal are lenient here that if you cut your nails before Yontif and you came in with them trimmed, so then you're allowed to trim them on Yontif.
Then you're not allowed.
You are allowed to.
Well,
I don't know, mowing.
What did I say? On Yontif.
Wait, say
Not
that
follow
whole thing
mowing,
again.
that's bad. If that you trimmed your nails before Yontif, you're allowed to trim them on follow mowing. Whereas if you didn't come in, unkempt as far as your nails go, you didn't come in with long nails, you would trim them right before Yontif, so then during chamoed, you're allowed to trim them. Otherwise, you shouldn't. Okay, the thing that we started with, work, going to work.
Hey, can I clarify that? I don't
Yeah.
understand why that's different than, like shaving before coming in and then having to shave again, because some men, your
Right.
nails don't grow so fast, your
Right.
hair grows
Right.
probably faster.
Okay. So this is good. So the reason is because nails is questionable to begin with.
Then what?
It's questionable whether there's any problem whatsoever. There was the prohibition of shaving and haircut is clear in the Gemara, but nails is not clear. And it's subject to dispute. And so because of that, the halacha is that if that a person did it beforehand, they trimmed their nails beforehand, it was permissible to do so even on chamoed. Okay, buying and selling. Work. Before we get to work. So we talked about in the beginning, to go to work or not to go to work. So it's generally forbidden to go to work. A person should try not to go to work because then you can spend the moed properly. As the Rambam said, right? The intent was in the old days, you would go up to the base of Mikdash and have, bring the carbon chagiga, and you would spend the week in Yerushalayim. And so it's certainly preferable to avoid work. And if you have situations of you get vacation days, whatever, you can discuss that with a Rav, what you should do, how you should, deal with that situation. But it's certainly preferable, not to work. And now, a person is allowed to go to work if it's a davar ave, if it's something which is a loss. Okay. But so anyway, so if it's a davar ave, so then a person is allowed to go to work, meaning the possibility for gain which is given up is not a davar ave. Okay? So let's say I could make more money if I did that. The fact that if I don't do it I wouldn't make that extra money, that's not a davar ave. That's not considered a loss. A loss is when there would be some kind of permanent loss. So for example, if a person didn't go to work, they would lose their job. So that's a davar ave. They could lose their job. Or let's say a person didn't open their store, they would permanently lose clientele. So that's a davar ave. Or let's say a person has clients, they have particular clients that they see. Let's say a person is a hairstylist, they have clients. If they don't do that, if they don't service their clients, they're going to lose them. They're going to go to somebody else and not come back. So that is considered a davar ave.
Does it matter if it's a ma'aseh uman or not? I mean, like a hairstylist.
I don't think so. I mean, I think a lot of work, a lot of people's work involves, ma'aseh uman. I think that if a person, it's a davar ave, so then the person's allowed to even do a ma'aseh uman. Indirect loss. Like let's say that if a person doesn't go to work, they would not be able to pay their mortgage and lose their home. So that would be considered a davar ave, and a person, it's kind of similar to a poor person, they could go to work. An interesting subject that comes up is writing on Yontif, on chamoed, pardon me. So writing is there's a question of what's ma'aseh uman and what's not. And it's a little difficult because for sure, let's say calligraphy or something like that would be considered a ma'aseh uman, and you wouldn't be able to do that. But let's say the regular way we write now, it seems like there's discussion, there's still machlokas as to whether the writing that we do was something that was, I mean nowadays it seems strange to me because everybody can write regularly. But it appears like it used to be that even could be considered a ma'aseh uman. And so the way that it generally is looked at now is like, let's say that you're going to make a shopping list for Yontif. So you can do it. It's preferable if you can use a shinui, if you can do it with like your left hand, or let's say if you have to sign a check at the market, do it with your left hand. I'm not sure. One thing I'm not sure about is nowadays everything is one of those screens. So I don't know what the status of that is, if that's considered a problem with writing or not. But it's better that, let's say, of course, a person shouldn't really be writing for no reason. So if you're making a list for Yontif or something like that, so it's suggested, if possible, to do with the shinui. If a person is writing down Torah thoughts, that's considered a davar ave, and it's mutter to write them down in the regular way. But like I said, generally when people are writing, if possible, it should be done for the sake of the moed, and it should be done with the shinui if possible.
What about using the computer?
So again, if it's for the sake of the moed.
Not checking your email or...
So first of all, personal correspondence is considered permissible. You're allowed to write a friend a letter on Yontif. I'm not called moed. I keep saying that. I'm called moed. You're allowed to write a friend. And so I would say the same thing with email. I mean, you shouldn't be dealing with business emails, but let's say to write a friend or to wish somebody a good moed or something like that. I would think if you would enjoy reading something, I would think that that's okay. You know, let's say that you like to take a look at the news or something. I think that that would be considered something that you enjoy, you know, and it's permissible.
Page.com.
Mitzvah. Definitely mutter. So, so thirsty. Okay, so buying and selling stuff. So you can buy things for festival needs. Let's say that there's products that you sell, and they're perishable, and you'll lose it if you don't sell it. So then, or you know, it's another example I was just thinking is, let's say you have sports tickets or tickets to like concerts or something like that. If you don't sell them, you'll lose the. So that would definitely be a davar aved, and you're allowed to sell it. We talked about before, loss of regular customers would be considered a davar aved, so you're allowed to sell to them. Carl brought this up. If you have a rare opportunity for profit or purchase, the Gemara talks about there used to be like caravans that would come through towns, and so if you didn't buy then, you couldn't get it. And so it's mutter. If there's a rare sale going on, something like that, you're allowed to take that opportunity. Let's say something like buying a stock. So what do you think? Maybe a rare opportunity. So buying a stock, though, is looked at as the opportunity for gain. And so it's not mutter to buy a stock on chamoed. However, if you think that it's going to take a precipitous downturn, that's a davar aved, you're allowed to sell the stock.
So if you're going short, it's okay. If you're going long,
Yeah, or else, you know, if you think a certain stock that you have is for whatever reasons, you know, it's going to tank. So you're allowed to
Does
unload
that
it.
thing on sale have to be something you need? Let's say something you just want, you don't need it.
I think it's fine. As long as it's something that you want to buy.
so you can sell
You know.
calls or buy.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that has to be like a need.
So why is that different than a stock?
The stock is just an opportunity for a gain. This is something you want to buy. You want this. A stock, you don't want a stock. It's not like I want to have some AT&T. You know, it's you're looking for gain, and that's not a davar aved. The opportunity that you wanted something and you can get it now, and if you don't get it now, you won't be able to get it, is a loss. And so, so these are some of the main ideas of chamoed. These are some of the main isurim. But I think the main thing, each one of these, there's a lot to talk about in each one of these. There's a whole lot. We didn't really talk about food preparation because almost everything in food preparation is mutter. There are some exceptions where, like, why do you have to, you know, you're not supposed to be like planting grain or something, right? Like harvesting. You know, like those are things that should be done beforehand. But you know, you could maybe like a little bit. But the point being is that there's a lot to talk about with each one of these. These are some of the main principles that, you know, to think about, and hopefully, you know, you can now know that if is this something which is sarke moed or not? Is it needed for the yontiv? If it is needed, is this something which only a craftsman would be able to do? If so, then it's not okay. If it's a regular activity that everybody, most people could do, so then it is okay. You know, and so these are some of the main things to know about chamoed. But the main reason why I think it's so important to know is that I think that it's often neglected. More about what you shouldn't be doing is what you shouldn't be doing is to open you up for what you should be doing.
Well, they don't have like typically classes every day, chamoed or learning or yarke kala or something.
It's a point. I mean, it's so then we have to do our own. I mean, we have to.
Tell your husband to take you to a Pesach resort, and they have shirim every day there.
I'm sorry.
Tell your husband to take you to a Pesach resort. They have shirim there every day.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, that's a davar aved, but
I'll have to pull my son from yeshiva then, because I won't go.
But so, but the main thing I'm trying to say, so, you know, but also the idea that it should be joyous, there should be Suda, there should be good food, there should be, you know, at the Suda, you can discuss something that's has to do with the Yontif. It's an opportunity really to get back together and spend time with Ruchnius. That's the point of it, is to be able to, and so the idea of not going to work, if possible, is to free somebody up, so it's not just like a weekday. That's what the Rambam, it shouldn't just, it's a chol chamoed, so it's still the moed, it's Mikra Kodesh. And so we should dress nicely, eat good food, simcha, happiness, being together. Yeah.
Did I hear you earlier say you should eat meat and not dairy on the full mode?
It's good to eat meat, yeah, like I mentioned. If you enjoy meat,
Can you repeat that?
If you
with your
enjoy
hand
it.
away
if
from
you
your
enjoy
mouth?
meat, you should eat meat like you do on.
You should eat meat on chol
Every
versus
night.
dairy.
Yeah, there's, if you like it, if that's what's enjoyed, so it's like Yom Tov, a person should eat meat and drink wine. In other words, this is the time to have delicacies. This is the time to have the things, the special things that you like. You know, just like on Yom Tov, it says that, you know, that for men, meat and wine, and for women, clothing and jewelry, and for kids, toys. There's still simcha on the whole.
What's chamoed without matzah pizza?
Yeah, exactly. It's still, you can still have later on, after that, you can, you know, matzah pizza for breakfast, and then have something later in the year, or lunch, and then later on. But, so that's the main thing here, I think, is to take out of this. Again, I think it's more important what it is than what it isn't. That's the main thing to take out of it, I believe, is that I think the idea of it often gets neglected. People just look at it as, there's 2 days, free for all, 2 days. And it's really supposed to be a week-long yontif. And I think when we have this understanding of it, it really enhances the whole thing. It makes it into a week together. I know some people can't get work off, you know, they'll lose their job, so the person can't help it. But if a person can take that time off or get some extra time off and spend time, it can be a very wonderful experience. So I hope everybody has a wonderful yontif and also a wonderful chamoed.
Wait, can you talk about the hair cutting and nail thing through the home? I know there's some different options, and it depends on how the calendar falls out.
Yeah, there's 2 different options.
Which is?
It either is from, you just go straight through from Pesach until Lag Bomer, or else Rosh Chodesh Sivan, I think, until ER until Shavuos.
But then I remember there's
And then some people do both.
There's some weird calendar issues though, that if Sivan comes out on
I don't
remember.
I don't remember what you're referring to exactly. It could be like if Rosh Chodesh falls out on
Yeah.
Erev Shabbos or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something to that.
Yeah, if that weird thing happens, we'll. But generally, those are the 2 options. Some people are machmir to do both. Like they just take off, I think, Lag Bomer, and then they continue. And so those are the possibilities.